What happens when Hollywood's most beloved pirate meets late-night television's most ruthless interrogator? You won't believe what unfolds when Johnny Depp sits down with Jimmy Kimmel for what was supposed to be a simple promotional appearance, only to witness one of the most explosive confrontations in talk show history. Before we get into this incredible story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below, because you're not going to believe what unfolds when these two titans clash in an absolutely brutal exchange that left audiences speechless and Johnny Depp storming off the set. Last night's episode of Jimmy Kimmel Live started innocently enough. Johnny Depp walked onto the stage with his signature confident stride, flashing that famous smile to the cheering audience. The actor, promoting his latest directorial project, seemed relaxed as he settled into the guest chair. But within minutes, the atmosphere would shift dramatically as Kimmel's questioning took an unexpectedly aggressive turn. The tension began building almost immediately when Kimmel, rather than discussing Depp's new film, launched straight into personal territory. "So Johnny," Kimmel began with that trademark smirk, "let's talk about your recent legal battles. Our audience is dying to know. Do you think your career will ever fully recover from all the controversy?" Depp's expression visibly changed, his easygoing demeanor hardening slightly. "Jimmy, I thought we were here to discuss my film," he replied, maintaining his composure but clearly caught off guard by the direct attack. But Kimmel wasn't backing down. In fact, he seemed energized by Depp's discomfort, leaning forward with predatory intensity. "Come on, Johnny. Everyone's thinking it. The trials, the headlines, the damage to your reputation. Surely you can't pretend it didn't happen. Don't you think our viewers deserve some honesty about how it feels to be Hollywood's most controversial comeback story?" The audience shifted uncomfortably as the interview took this hostile turn. Depp, to his credit, attempted to redirect the conversation. "Jimmy, with all due respect, I came here to promote a project I'm passionate about. I'd prefer to focus on the work rather than rehashing old tabloid fodder." This only seemed to fuel Kimmel's fire. His voice took on a mocking tone that sent chills through the studio. "Tabloid fodder? Is that what we're calling it now? Johnny, you can't just wave a magic wand and make years of very public, very messy legal drama disappear. The audience wants to know, are you still the same person who had those infamous recorded conversations played in court?" The question hung in the air like a toxic cloud. Depp's jaw tightened visibly, and for a moment the studio fell silent except for the uncomfortable shuffling of audience members. When he spoke, his voice carried a warning edge that anyone familiar with his filmography would recognize. "Jimmy, I came here as a courtesy, to discuss art and creativity. If you want to play tabloid journalist, perhaps you should have been more honest about your intentions when your producers reached out to my team." Rather than taking the hint, Kimmel doubled down with disturbing enthusiasm. "Oh, come on. This is exactly the kind of deflection that got you in trouble in the first place. You can't just charm your way out of accountability anymore, Johnny. The public has seen behind the curtain. They know the real Johnny Depp now, don't they?" The malicious glee in Kimmel's voice was unmistakable now. He was clearly enjoying watching one of Hollywood's most respected actors squirm under his interrogation. The camera captured every micro-expression on Depp's face as he processed this verbal assault disguised as entertainment. "The real Johnny Depp," Depp repeated slowly, his voice dropping to that quiet intensity that made his performances so memorable. "Jimmy, you don't know the first thing about the real me. What you know are headlines designed to sell clicks and court documents taken out of context." But Kimmel was relentless, his questioning becoming increasingly invasive and cruel. "Context? Johnny, we all heard those recordings. We all saw the text messages. Are you really going to sit there and tell America that was all just taken out of context? Because, frankly, that sounds like more of the same behavior that got you into this mess." The atmosphere in the studio had become genuinely uncomfortable. Audience members were looking at each other with concern, clearly not expecting this level of hostility. Depp's publicist could be seen in the wings, frantically trying to get Kimmel's attention to signal a topic change, but the host was completely focused on his verbal assault. "You know what, Jimmy?" Depp said, his voice now carrying the full weight of his frustration. "I've spent decades entertaining people, bringing joy and escapism to millions of fans around the world. I came here tonight to share something I'm genuinely proud of. something creative and positive. Instead, you want to drag me through the mud for your audience's entertainment." Kimmel's response was perhaps the most revealing moment of the entire confrontation. Rather than showing any remorse or professionalism, he actually laughed. A cold, calculating sound that made it clear this had been his plan all along. "Oh, Johnny, Johnny, Johnny," Kimmel said with condescending amusement. "You can't seriously expect to waltz back into the public eye without answering some hard questions. This isn't 2003 anymore. You can't just charm your way through interviews and expect everyone to forget what happened. The audience deserves honesty, not another carefully crafted celebrity persona." That was the moment everything changed. Depp's entire demeanor shifted, his famous composure finally cracking under the sustained assault. When he spoke, his voice carried a quiet fury that was far more intimidating than any shouting could have been. "Honesty? You want to talk about honesty, Jimmy? Let's talk about how your producers assured my team this would be a respectful conversation about my work. Let's talk about how you're using someone else's pain for cheap laughs and ratings. Is that the kind of honesty you're interested in?" The confrontation reached its boiling point when Kimmel, perhaps sensing he was losing control of the narrative, made one final devastating attack. "Look, Johnny, I get it. You're trying to rebuild your image. But don't you think the public deserves to know who they're really supporting? Don't they deserve to know if the Johnny Depp they're cheering for tonight is the same one who—" "Stop." Depp's voice cut through Kimmel's words like a blade. The single word carried such authority that it actually made Kimmel pause mid-sentence. "Just stop." The studio fell completely silent. Even the cameras seemed to hold their breath as Depp slowly rose from his chair, his movement deliberate and controlled. The famous actor looked directly at Kimmel with an expression of profound disappointment mixed with barely contained anger. "I've been in this business for over 3 decades, Depp said, his voice steady but carrying unmistakable intensity. "I've sat through thousands of interviews, dealt with every kind of journalist and talk show host imaginable. But I have never, ever encountered someone who seems to take such obvious pleasure in trying to humiliate their guests." Kimmel, perhaps realizing he had pushed too far, attempted to backtrack with forced laughter. "Hey, come on, Johnny, it's just television, don't take it so personally." But Depp was already removing his microphone, his movements precise and final. "Just television? Jimmy, this is someone's life you're treating like entertainment. These are real experiences, real pain, real consequences that you're mocking for applause." The audience watched in stunned silence as one of Hollywood's most iconic actors prepared to leave. The moment felt surreal, like watching a carefully orchestrated publicity event collapse in real time. "You know what the real tragedy is here," Depp continued, his voice carrying to every corner of the now silent studio. "I actually came here excited to share something meaningful with people. Instead, I walked into an ambush disguised as an interview." With that, Johnny Depp placed his microphone on the chair and walked toward the edge of the stage. The cameras followed his every step as he moved, with the same dignified grace that had made him a global icon, even in this moment of obvious frustration and disappointment. Kimmel, left alone on stage, with his smug expression finally cracking, called out desperately, "Johnny, come on, don't be so sensitive, it's just show business." But Depp didn't turn back. He simply raised one hand in acknowledgement of the audience, not Kimmel, and continued walking until he disappeared into the wings, leaving behind one of the most shocking moments in late-night television history.